over the last 3 or 4 years, we have millions and millions and millions of new gun owners, millions of them. It's unlike anything I've ever seen before. And now we're in like 4 years of just every year, there's like millions of new gun owners. That's great to see. It's great to see. And it's a smart thing. I mean, you live in America. We kind of seem to be a gunslinging country right now. So have a gun on you. Be one of the good guys with a gun. Be ready to go up against the bad guy with a gun. Don't just sit there and take it and say, oh, please don't shoot me. Like, just take care of business. Have a gun on you. And the peculiar thing is most new gun owners gravitated to 2 categories. It's fascinating. Like most of them gravitated to 2 categories. They either bought some sort of concealed carry 38 special, like a snub nose 38 special. It's the second most popular gun purchase by new gun owners in the last 4 years. And that's a great choice. And the other one was some sort of concealed carry 9mm. Those are the 2. That all the new gun owners probably got one of those 2 options. Not all, of course, but most gravitated towards a handgun in either 9mm or a 38 special. So I think they made wise decisions. But I want to take a moment and talk about, well, which one's better? What are the benefits of each? What are the downfalls of each? That kind of thing for the new gun owners. Because obviously, if you're gonna go buy a gun for the first time, you're probably gonna buy a 38 special revolver, or you're gonna buy some sort of a 9mm. So let's talk about it for a second. I always say a revolver is a great choice for a new gun owner. All 3 of my daughters carry revolvers. It was all 3 of their first guns, and I steered them that direction. Obviously, they have their own choices to make, but I steered them those directions because I knew that it's easy to operate. I knew they wouldn't have an accidental misfire with it because it's double action each pull. You either need to pull that hammer back and then pull the trigger, which is 2 actions. Or you got to pull that trigger back all the way to get that hammer back, which is 2 actions. So, and it's, if you're in an emergency, you don't need to think about it. How do I hold it? Was my thumb in the way? Can I rack the slide? Is the safety off? Like, you just pull and shoot. It works every single time. This is why I highly recommend a 38 special revolver for the new gun owner. And we'll come back to that in a second. Let's touch on the 9mm for a second, because the 9mm is another great option. The benefit of a 9mm is you're obviously going to have a higher capacity of ammo. Most pocket carry 38 specials are 5 or 6 shots. 9mm, micro compacts, you're looking at 10, 11, 12, 15. They just kind of keep getting more bullets in there somehow. So it's a higher capacity, but the downfall is it's just technologically more confusing. I guess technologically more need of knowledge, I guess, is what I'm getting at. You can't just grab a 9mm and start. You have to learn how to load it. You have to be able to load a magazine. You got to be able to insert a magazine. You got to be able to rack that slide. And as long as you can do all that, now you're ready for business. What a lot of people made the mistake on is and I don't want to call it a mistake, I just say for a new gunner, they looked at it like it was a mistake, is they took the recommendations of things like Glocks. And they thought, well, I didn't know it didn't have a manual safety, and I didn't know it did, and they just felt like it's a little more too dangerous, and they didn't feel comfortable carrying it. That's not the right gun. If you're not going to carry it, you got the wrong gun. No matter the scenario, if you're not carrying it, you got the wrong gun. And they realized that, and Glock was one of the most returned guns in the country for the last couple years. But I believe that's why. Nothing wrong with Glock. They just saw it as something that they're not ready for. When the recommendation came from Uncle Rick or whatever, oh, you got to get a Glock. And okay, I got to take Uncle Rick's recommendation, go get a Glock. So most 9mm, you know, if somebody was to say, well, hey, I want a 9mm, I don't want a revolver, I'd recommend something like a SIG P250 that's double action every single shot, kind of like a revolver, no manual safety. I'd recommend something like that, or a CZ compact, or the Rammy, you know, something that's got a double action first round pull with a decocker. But again, we're just getting into more, you know, really, I believe the P250, I wish they still made that, because it's really like shooting a revolver, but you know, fit 17 rounds in there. So I typically would say, as a concealed carrier, if you want to take some time to really learn and practice, go for the 9mm, go for it, but learn and practice. If you're not going to learn and practice, go for the revolver. And I think that's just something you have to really think about before you buy it. Am I going to practice, or do I just want a gun that I'm going to have? Now, even if you get a revolver, I'm going to always recommend you practice. I just know, you know, we're talking about hundreds of millions of lazy Americans. Like, we got other stuff to do. We don't got time to practice, kind of thing. I'm just being real here. If you're going to practice, internally think, am I really going to practice? Am I really going to learn this gun? If the answer is no, as a new gun owner, I recommend you get the 38 Special revolver. If the answer is yes, then go for it, unless you prefer the revolver. And I'll be quite honest, there's a lot of times I prefer to carry a revolver. I often carry a revolver. So it's just it takes very little knowledge to make that gun work. And it takes very little knowledge to keep it safe. That's why I recommend the revolver versus the 9mm. If you're willing to take the time to learn it, go for the 9mm. If not, 38 Special. There's my 2 cents. Any thoughts or insight on any of this, definitely put it below. I do want to take a moment and say, most people watch this channel, not subscribers. Click that subscribe button. It greatly increases the algorithm and our ability to get these messages out. That link is also below. But the most important part of this channel is we take prayer requests. So please don't ever hesitate to send that in. Thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, and Guns. And as always, love God, love your family, and love guns.